Hello everyone, it's Hisako. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Today I decided I would actually get dressed up and do a makeup tutorial to show you guys how I kind of do the makeup, what kind of products I use. I did talk in a previous video about different kinds of products that I use. Sometimes I switch it up a little bit, so I am using a couple of different things this time, but pretty much the same process. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing how I do the makeup, then stay tuned. It is a little bit of a lengthy video. I tried to cut it down as much as I can, but Geisha Henshin makeup is a process. So I did the best I could, but yeah, if you're interested in seeing what the whole process is, stay tuned and enjoy. We'll see you in the next clip. Arigatou gozaimasu. Okay, so we are starting with our bare face. We've taken all the makeup off, so we're starting with nothing. I've already gone through and moisturized my face, which is really important before you get started on any kind of makeup. Make sure you always moisturize. It helps give like a more smoother base. You should do that before primer, before anything else. I've also already got my habutai on, which is like a traditional wig cap that you would use for katsuta and other Japanese style wigs. So yeah, we'll get started with that. First product I'm going to start with is our primer. I've got the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I'm going to actually apply this all over my face. We're also going to apply on the neck, the chest, and also the back area as well. That's going to help the foundation stick. Take a little bit here. Start with the eyes. We're going to make sure to take some and put it on the neck. Smooth that all the way down. And just using our fingers to blend that in. And don't forget to do the back of your neck and also the back area here as well, since we want to cover everything. You probably noticed there's a lot of redness on my skin. My skin is very sensitive to temperature, to touch, or being like rubbed or scratched or anything. So anytime you're doing any kind of like rough rubbing, it tends to get really flushed. So don't worry, that's normal for me. That's part of why I have to put the primer on to help give an extra layer for the next step that we're going to use. So next step, we're going to use the Marin Clown White face paint to start applying the white part here. And we're going to actually do that with a dry sponge today. I usually use a damp sponge, but sometimes when the humidity is really bad out, I feel like it tends to make it crease a bit more and not apply as well. So on days where it's a little more hot and humid, I actually like to prefer to do it with a dry sponge. So we're gonna take our sponge and we're just gonna pat into this. A nice white layer. And then I usually start with the bottom of my face and kind of work my way up, doing the eyes last, since I feel like this does tend to crease a lot around the eye area. So I usually do that part last, but set that part with powder first. So we're gonna go ahead and apply. I usually need about 2 to 3 layers of this. All right, so we'll start at the bottom and just pat it. You wanna make sure to blend this evenly. Do 1 layer at a time, and make sure to get your lips. As you can see, I've got my first layer on. We're not going to do the ears, we're going to leave these alone. The wig covers part of that, but the ears are usually, you don't do the white on the ears. I usually start with doing the 2 to 3 layers of white on my face first, We'll set that with powder, and then I work my way down to my neck just because I want to set it pretty quickly since it does start to settle into lines and any kind of pores or anything, unless you start setting it pretty quickly. So we'll continue to work on the face and then work our way down to the rest of the neck. Coming in for our second layer. Okay, so I've got my second layer done. I'm gonna go in with just a thin third layer just to kind of finish up making it a little more opaque. So excuse me while I do the third layer really quick. Also something to add, I forgot, I normally do concealer underneath the white part. So I would do that after the primer to cover up dark circles if they're looking bad or acne or anything like that. But my skin's actually not doing too bad today, so I skipped the concealer step this time. But if you want to do concealer to cover up acne or dark circles or anything, you can. All right, now we have the white part of the face done there. It's very oily and very greasy. This feels very heavy. The next thing that I'm going to do, and you have to work kind of quickly because it's going to start creasing really quick. You may have to even blend out the eye area a little bit before you do this next step. I'm going to use the Marin Color Set powder in translucent. I'm actually out of my pressed powder today, so I'm going to use loose powder instead. Not a fan of loose powder because it does get everywhere, but this stuff will work. It's a little tricky. There's a trick to it to make it work. So I'll go ahead and show you guys that in the next step. So we're gonna take this big powder puff sponge. I'm actually gonna take a spoon, put a little of the powder onto the sponge. It's pretty chunky, so you need to use the spoon or your finger to blend it out to get a smoother texture. Because if you try to put that on with all those chunks in there, it is going to look very cakey. So just use your fingers or the spoon or whatever, and just kind of put some of the powder on there and sort of blend it out into the sponge so we get a nice soft layer. And I'm gonna go in and do my eye area first, since that's the first place that's gonna crease, and we're just gonna pat that in. So it's gonna make a mess. Make sure you lay down towels. What this is also going to do is this is also going to absorb excess moisture from the clown white paint. Sometimes I also like to go in with, if I can find it, a little brush, dip just a little bit in the powder and kind of go into the under eye area just to kind of get those areas where the puff may have missed it, just to make sure that we really set those areas. Also around the corner of the nose as well. Then I always do a quick test to kind of touch to make sure, you know, are these areas good, or do we need to add any more powder for any areas that still feel sticky. Yeah, feels good. Now you may notice after applying the loose powder, it does still look a little cakey. You're going to want to take a powder brush and dust off the excess. So we're going to come in and just sort of blend it out with your powder brush. This is going to take off some of that excess powder and smooth that out a little bit. Be careful not to rub too hard or you'll rub off the white makeup. All right, once we've done that step, we're going to put the powder away for just a minute. And we're gonna go back to using our clown white makeup. You take the sponge and we're gonna start doing the neck through here, the chest, back of the neck, and the back of the back. I have a mirror, you can't see it on camera, but I have a mirror that's positioned behind me so I can actually see what I'm doing on the back of my neck and my back. Traditionally, geisha do leave the nape of the neck bare. It's a bare patch. It's kind of shaped in sort of this almost like W shape, which is easier to do with the shoot or nudie makeup since it's more of like a kind of paint. But because this is more of like a creamy paste consistency, it's a little harder to kind of paint that on. So I actually skip that part and just go completely over the skin so it's opaque and it's just all white, which is more traditional with what geigi in smaller towns and places like Tokyo may do. But in Kyoto, you would absolutely have the bare patch. But I'm skipping that today, so we're just gonna go all over with all white. And once we have that blended out, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna come in with our powder here. A little bit, put it on our thing. I'm gonna spread that out just a little bit. We're gonna start tapping the neck and the chest area. And same thing as before, after we're done patting that in, we're gonna come in with our powder brush and just kind of buff off the excess powder. All right, so we made it through the longest part of the makeup, which is doing all the white stuff. So now we can move on to blush. So blush is used to kind of contour the face a little bit and also kind of give the face a little bit more of a glow so it's not such a flat white. We're gonna be using this Revlon blush in Marvelous today. That's what I usually use. I'm gonna use a fluffy brush first to kind of draw in the areas where you would do kind of the contour from the bridge of the nose out. And then I'm gonna use this fluffy kind of blush brush to kind of blend a little bit more out in the eye area, the upper cheeks, and out toward the hairline. All right, so I kind of start right here. And you just need to be light-handed with this, because for Geiko style makeup, we don't want the blush to be too heavy. Heavier blush is more maiko. So we're gonna do very light-handed, but we're really just kind of contouring the nose and brow bone area for now. All right, once we're done with our blush, we're going to move on to eyebrows, which we're going to do two different colors for. We've got the Marin color cups. I've got this in red and black. So we're going to start with the red first and use this angled brush to draw them in. You're going to do kind of more of a straight eyebrow. Mine always end up a little more curved because I'm just not that good at drawing eyebrows, but if you can, try to do them a little more straight as opposed to curved. You only need a little bit on the brush. I'm gonna start here and just come across. Try to be as straight as you can. Traditionally, geisha and maiko use a special wax to sort of like get rid of the eyebrows the same way like cosplayers use like the glue sticks to kind of like make your eyebrows disappear so you can apply makeup over them and draw new eyebrows. It's a similar concept, but I barely have any eyebrows as it is, so I just skip this step and just draw them on myself. Okay, once we've got the red in, we're gonna come in with the black, and we're just gonna do a little bit on the brush, not too much. I like to start in the center, work my way out, and I like to leave the inner part right here more red so it kind of fades more to black. So we'll start in the black here and just kind of move it all the way to the end of the eyebrow while kind of fading it more toward the inner part of the brow so that we can keep that red and kind of get more of a gradient. And I've seen the eyebrows done differently for geisha depending on personal preference. Some will just do just the red, others will do just black, and then I see the red and black. So I guess it depends. But personally, I always like the red that fades to black. So that's what I do. All right, now that we've done our eyebrows, we're going to move on to the eye makeup, which is pretty simple, it's not too hard. We're gonna get our red Marin color cut back out again, along with this little kind of, I guess, bullet eye brush. And we're gonna kind of do like the bottom, just the little corner, and kind of almost do sort of a circle or petal shape on the outside. So we're just gonna dip a little bit. And you don't want this to go too far into the inner corner of the eye or too close toward the inner part of the eye, because if you have like little folds like I do, it will transfer and bleed. So you want to make sure you kind of stay a little bit further out to avoid having it transfer to the lower upper lid. I'm just going to kind of tap just a little bit. Come out. And just a little bit on the edge. And I do see some geisha do more opaque, or some do kind of more of a soft, like flowery or airy look. I personally like it a little more opaque, but that's just me. But if you want to do a lighter look, you can. So it should look about like this. Maybe your shape may look a little different. I see some geisha that go out a little further, some kind of do more of the rounded look. I tend to do more of a petal look for mine, but this is about the idea of what you're looking for. Okay, so as you can see, we've got our eye makeup done. Next thing we're going to move on to is eyeliner. I'm using the NYX Epic Ink Body and eyeliner. This stuff does not come off, which is really good, but it is a little sticky, so you have to be really careful to let it dry before you open your eye. Alright, I'm going to start over here. Very gentle line. When you get to the end, you're going to come out and do a very soft wingtip. I usually go more out, but you can go more down or more up, but just don't do it too dramatic, just soft line. This is about how your eyeliner should look when you're done. It should have kind of like a nice soft wingtip. And sometimes I see some geisha. I don't want to open my eye and let it get on the top so fast because it's not dry yet. Some of them do like a little bit on the inner corner, like that little black corner right there. I don't, because they have really watery tear ducts, but if you can handle it and your eyes don't water like mine do, you can put that little kind of crease right there as well, just to kind of add a little more definition. All right, next we're going to do mascara, since the eyelashes, as you can tell, look pretty white from the white powder and stuff that we did earlier. So I'm going to use this Maybelline Sky High mascara in black. You do not want to use false lashes when you're doing geisha style makeup or Geisha Henshin makeup, because they use their natural lashes. You don't want it to be too dramatic, you want it to be a bit more natural. So we're just going to use this, and we're going to come in and just do the top lashes. I don't do the bottom lashes because I think it is a little too busy, but I have seen some geisha do the bottom lashes as well. It is up to you, but I personally just do the top lashes. All right, now we got our eyelashes done. I just did one coat, but sometimes I do 2 coats, especially depending on if like my mascara is starting to get kind of thin or run out, but you can do 1 to 2 coats. I wouldn't do any more than that because you don't want it too dramatic, but we do have some nice eyelashes, and this also helps cover up the white from the powder that had coated the eyelashes earlier. I swear to God, we are almost done. I know it's been a lot. I know this is probably a little bit of a longer video, but thank you so much for sticking through if you have. If you have left, bye, I guess. But I swear to God, we are almost done. Last step we're gonna do before we start setting everything is going to do the lips. So we're gonna come back in with the Marin Color Cup in red with this little lip brush, and we're going to start with the bottom lip and then the top lip. You want to draw your lips a little bit smaller. You don't want to go too big because the lips tend to be more smaller and you have a super defined Cupid's bow. So you want that line to be nice and sharp. And I do have another Marin red color that I like to use as well. I'm using the Color Cup today because I like the red shade a little bit on this better, but this does transfer more. This does not hold up as well as the Marin lip cream, but I kind of have come to find I like the color on this a little better. But both work. Just keep in mind this probably doesn't last as long, but I like the color better. So we're gonna start with the bottom lip. And we're just gonna kind of start drawing that in. Remember to keep it small. And if you're like me and you already have naturally small lips, then this step is gonna actually be pretty easy because you won't have to underline quite so much. Depending on how small your lips are, you might even just do it how you normally would do it. All right, we've done our bottom lip. Now we're gonna come in and do our top lip. Keeping in mind to keep it very defined and small. Sort of like this shape, but we're gonna fill it in. I always know I'm almost done with my makeup because my nose starts to run right at the end every time. All right, we are finally done applying all the makeup. Oh my God, it takes forever. Sometimes with this, by the way, you might get a little on your teeth when it's still drying. It will dry down for the most part. Just take your tongue and lick it off. That's what I do. You know, you get a little bit, all better. So last thing we're going to do is we're going to use setting spray to set this because that's really important. Otherwise it will transfer on things. I'm using the MAC Fix-It spray, but you can use any setting spray you want. I just have a ton of this left over, but it is a really good setting spray. So we're going to go through and just start spraying it down. All right. Don't be afraid to be liberal with the setting spray. And make sure to spray down everywhere. Every part that you've covered with makeup, make sure you spray that down. All right, and here you have the finished look. So that is how I do my Geisha Henshin style makeup. Keep in mind this style of makeup is for Geisha Henshin versus maiko Henshin. Maiko would be a little different. I don't do maiko Henshin, but I can maybe do a tutorial on that as well just to show you how I do it. I just don't have the maiko hair ornaments or fruity soda to go with it, but I can still show you guys the makeup in the future if you would like. Let me know in the comments if you would. But yes, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys. Arigatou gozaimasu. So when I said the loose powder was messy, this is exactly why I put towels down, because this stuff goes everywhere. Ah!